Hey, this is Josh Thomas with Michael Blanc. If you're watching this video, it's probably because we either had a phone conversation or we're about to have a phone conversation and you have some questions. One of the common questions that comes up is, hey, I'd like to talk to some of your current students and find out kind of what their experience is. Well, I've kind of done some of that work for you. We're here at the Financial Freedom Summit in DC, and I have lined up in mugshot format five of our current students. So I'm going to ask some of the common questions that you may have. And first of all, so Mauricio just got signed up here. Mauricio, what were some of your primary concerns in getting into this program, just very quickly?
Um, Concerns, I didn't really have any concerns, to be honest with you. I do residential real estate and I've always had a coach. So to do something this large, I didn't want to do it on my own because the mistakes could cost a whole lot more. And I think it's a way to fast track, and I don't have 6 months or a year to my time to waste. So I need somebody to guide me. So I didn't really have any concerns, to be honest with you.
Okay, and so you made the decision to join, and you've been in for a couple of months now, and you're getting started. And how just briefly, very briefly, describe that experience. Has it met or exceeded your expectations?
Well, it's definitely met the expectations. Um, Having somebody that has already done this, just to tell me, just to move or adjust the things that I'm thinking about doing is just phenomenal, honestly.
Okay, great, thank you. And this is Brian Briscoe, and Brian just recently closed on a deal and got another one under contract. Tell me a little bit about your experience with the mentorship.
So, like Mauricio, I mean, I wanted to accelerate things. I'm active duty military. I've got 2 years till I can retire, and my goal was to replace that income. So, as far as my experience, my coach is Josh Eidingen. Um, he's been extremely accessible. He's been able to um, help me prevent mistakes. I mean, there are a couple of things that I was doing that he was able to just basically focus me on the right things, keep me from wasting my time. Um, and it also gave me the confidence to do a lot bigger deals, So I think before the program, my goal was I want to find a sixplex or an eightplex or something small that I can do by myself, and then I'll start syndicating. Um, and basically through the mentoring program, I got the confidence I needed to be able to do something a lot larger. So we closed on a 55 unit deal just last week. We've got a 32 and a 40 under contract right now in the same area, and are negotiating a PSA on another 80 units right now.
Thanks very much, Brian. And so Robert is relatively new. He just signed up recently. And so, Robert, let me ask you a question, just kind of first expectations. I know it was a little bit of, figuring out, is this right for us, making the decision. But when you were able to meet with your mentor, what were your first impressions with that?
Meeting with Coach Phil first, who was he's very at ease and everything's very simple because they're very open to hearing what it is that you've done and seeing what your background is. And they're not throwing you out into the fire. They're kind of taking you step by step as to what to do and how to do it. And with that, it's taken away the fear because to me, I know already how to analyze a property. I've done it before several times over. To me now, it's how do you bring on investors? And he's been showing us basically step by step exactly what to do and how to do it, and basically how to work the SDA, where this now looks good for investors. So it's really starting to make sense. He really simplifies it. It's been great so far.
Excellent. And so, kind of on purpose, I'm bringing on students who have recently joined, just kind of as they're getting started and getting that momentum. Chris, how long have you been in the program?
It's been about a month and a half.
Okay, so about the same time frame. And so, what has been your experience in as far as getting started and coming over the hump of making the investment and making the decision to commit is one of the hardest things to do, and then you do it. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I'm really happy that I made the choice to invest in myself. I have had experience with other programs, and even going through the ultimate program, I came out of that knowing so much more and realizing that there's just so much value to be had within Michael Blanc's program. So I'm really excited going forward.
Okay, great, thank you. And Richard, how long have you been in the program?
Since March.
Since March. Okay, so about 6 or 7 months at this point. And who's your coach?
Josh Sterling.
Okay, Josh Sterling. So Josh, for those of you guys that don't know, he's He's a pretty interesting guy. He owns his private jet and he flies around the world and does all kinds of stuff like that. But we actually hardly ever see him because he's always on vacation. But he's a great mentor.
Yes, he's been an awesome mentor.
And so you've been in this a little bit longer than Chris and Rob. Tell me about your experience in the last 6 months and what kind of progress you've been able to make.
So I think to begin with, what was good is Josh basically just fills in a lot of gaps, right? So you go through the guide, but there are certain things that you still are unsure about because a lot of guys will do things a little differently. One investor may do it this way, another investor may do it this way, and he kind of centers you and says, okay, do it this way. So you ramp up on that, you start analyzing properties, and then now just Friday I have a contract in hand, so I'm excited.
You got a contract in hand this week.
Yes, yeah, just on Friday.
Awesome. So it took you about 6 months, but you made it happen.
Yes. You just have to keep grinding and do what your mentor says, right? I mean, just keep doing what he says because I think they've been through enough. They've been able to see the success and they know it works. So
very good. And so thank you so much. And so just to kind of summarize here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys standing here. One of them is close to the end, graduating the program, has one property closed and several under contract. One of them's about 6 months in and has a deal under contract right now. And then the other 3, I think, will get there really soon. And just one more quick thing I remembered about Mauricio. So Mauricio joined the program less than 2 months ago and really kind of took charge of this. And just tell me in 10 seconds, tell him about what happened in Phoenix.
Oh, I went to Phoenix 2 weeks ago.
What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
No, Phoenix.
Phoenix. Oh, I thought you said Vegas. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, so I went to Phoenix a couple weeks ago. I lined up appointments with the main brokers. I was nervous about those meetings, and when I talked to my coach, he told me he validated what I wanted to do. And it just made a big difference knowing that somebody that has all that experience could tell me that what I was planning on doing was great. So I had meetings with brokers, with property managers, inspectors, and everything. Yeah.
That's great, and it went really well, and you made some good connections.
Oh, absolutely. I just spoke to somebody who's a broker who's on vacation. She called me from Hong Kong, from one of the contacts that I made on my trip to Phoenix. But my coach gave me some pointers that just made a huge difference.
Excellent. So last question for everybody. I mean, so somebody considering this program, best piece of advice that you would have for somebody that's, they had a conversation with me and they're not really sure if this is the right fit for them. What's the best piece of advice you have for them?
Do it. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I just got to say, if you're the type of person who's going to put in effort, this is going to accelerate everything you do. All right, so I'd look at it more as acceleration and it's like putting gas on a fire is what it is.
Well,
It's the effort that you put in, purely.
Yeah, if you don't believe in yourself, then who's going to actually believe in your deals? You got to believe in yourself, and you got to do it for yourself.
If you just do it and follow what your mentor says, you will be successful. And when you consider, the cost, it's not really different than going to college, except in this way you can actually achieve a lot more freedom than you would. Yeah.
excellent. Very good. Thank you so much, guys, for being here for this. So if you do have any further questions, feel free to reach out to me. My email address is josh@themichaelblanc.com. I will look forward to having another conversation with you soon. Thank you.